So we're going to go ahead and draw a plane. And let's go ahead and draw a line through that plane. And imagine, if you will, I'm going to put these dots to show like it's happening that way. Imagine if you took like a piece of paper and stabbed it with an infinite pencil, right? That's what we're looking at, essentially. Okay, an infinite paper that was stabbed with an infinite pencil. So let's go ahead and label a few things. We'll call this line L. And let's call this point A, point B, and point C. We say that line L intersects plane ABC at point B. Let's go ahead and look at part B, two planes that intersect in a line. Let's start off with our first plane. And then let's go ahead and draw another plane that intersects it.
Most impressive.
So we have these two planes that are cutting into each other, and you'll note that where they intersect is going to be this line right here going through there. So we have line L that's formed because these two planes cut into each other. You can try this at home if you get two note cards and you cut one with a slit halfway down, and you do the same thing with the other one, and then you kind of just slide them into each other. You're going to see in real life these two planes intersecting, and where they meet is going to be a line. Let's get a bit more technical here. So we have a line which we've discussed, and we've kind of shown you how to do that. And let's discuss in this case a line AB, right? And as stated before, it's something that goes both ways forever. So note that on the symbol for a line, we have a little symbol on top of this. A and B represent 2 points in that line, but you'll note that there's a left arrow and a right arrow to that. A line segment, on the other hand, doesn't have those arrows because it actually has a beginning and an end. We call this the initial and the final points. So when we write the shorthand for that as AB, there are no arrows whatsoever. Now we could write this as AB or BA. And if you think about it, it's because it's pretty practical. If we're going from Lancaster to Las Vegas, it's the same distance as going from Las Vegas back to Lancaster. So that distance is the same regardless of where you begin or where you end, as long as that distance is the same. With the ray, it's very different. See, the ray has only one direction, and in this case, it's very important that I write this as AB with the arrow going this way. This indicates that A is the initial point, and that B goes on forever. If I were to write this as BA, that's a completely different drawing. That would be looking like this. So please note that AB, ray AB, is not the same as ray BA. It actually matters. Okay? And so if it's the first letter is going to show us that that's the initial point, and the last letter shows us that that's which way the arrow is going forever. A quick note about opposite rays. So for example, if I have 3 collinear points A, B, C, right, and collinear because they form a line, if we look at this, we'll note that we have BC, ray BC, and we have ray BA. Now, these are called opposite rays because they're going in opposite directions. Okay, let's take a moment to actually note some more interesting things on naming lines. If we look at ABC, we could call this line, we could call it line AC. We could also call it line BC. If you recall from the last video or on the first page of your notes, that we name lines based on 2 points. According to the postulate, we need 2 points to make a line. So as long as we pick any 2 points on this line, we can name this line. We could also name this line CA if we wanted to. We could also name it We did BC already, right? We could also name it AB if we wanted to. So be aware, there's many ways we could name the same line. Let's go ham. So here's a pretty intense drawing. Let's name 3 line segments. However, I'm only going to name 2 line segments and allow you to pick a third one. There are many multiple options for answers to these problems. So for example, when we name a line segment, we'll name, for example, let's say GH. And it's a line segment, so I'm going to draw just a little line with no arrows. I would also suggest the following. When you get a drawing like this, throw in some dots everywhere where they intersect. It's psychological, but it helps us to recognize what's going on better. So here's GH, and let's look at, let's say, JM. Those are 2 line segments. Look around. Give me a third one. Let's name 3 lines. Once again, we do need 2 points to define a line. Let's go ahead and name JL. And let's also pick NG. Note the symbols that are being used. 3 rays. Rays, we have to be very careful. The initial point is an actual point. The ending point is going to be an arrow. So if we look at, for example, HG, that would be appropriate, right? The initial point would be H, and then the point through which the ray is going, the arrow is going to be G. Okay. If we look at, for example, LN, we would write it as such. Don't fall into the mistake that we always put things alphabetically, especially with rays. Perhaps with line segments and lines, we may do that, or we put things alphabetically, or in planes, or in triangles. But when it comes to rays, the order matters a lot. So just because it looks like it's alphabetical doesn't mean it is alphabetical. What is important is that this is the initial point, right? This is the initial point. Let's name 3 non-collinear points. We could do GHK. GHK. They're not in the same line, that's for sure. And let's do FKM. Now, incidentally, if they are non-collinear, it looks like they could be coplanar, but we're not going to go into that right now. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and name 3 collinear points. So these are points that are in the same line. So G. Let's not do G. Let's do JLN and KLM, for example. Okay, JLN. That's this line right here. KLM looks like this one right here. And again, give me a third of everything, right? I gave you 2 out of 3. Give me a third one. So take some time, reflect, see what else you can find. List them all if you want. That would be even better practice. For your summary, sketch a line that contains point R between points S and T. Okay, so actually make a drawing. Don't forget, it's a line. So you're going to make sure you have arrows at the end of your line. But there are 3 points in this line, right? It's a collinear. These are collinear points. Give names for the line, the segments, and the rays that you see in your drawing.